Welcome back to Community Conversations. I'm your host, Steve Mantis, and my guest is Greg Snider with the Thunder Bay and District Injured Workers Support Group.
Yeah.
Greg, just before we took a break, you were telling me about your meeting coming up, which is an annual general meeting for the group, for the Thunder Bay Injured Workers. Now, tell me a little bit more about the annual general meeting. You were saying you're looking for new board members, you were interested in other volunteers.
Well, we do an election for board members, but we're also interested in anybody who's willing to do, there's lots of different things that can be done, and we do a lot of different work. We have peer support meetings every first Monday of every month at the March of Dimes has agreed to let us use their building, so we have it there.
Totally great.
At 7. So everybody who wants to come out. It's not just for injured workers. It could be family members. Anybody who wants to come out is more than welcome to attend that. And we could use volunteers to help out with that, or even if you just want to come out and participate in it, that's fine. We have our board meetings on the first Tuesday of the month. If you want to join the board, if you want to come out to a board meeting and just see what goes on, if you're an injured worker, you just want to see what happens at our board meetings. We're not going to kick you out if you come on a Tuesday at 7 at the March of Dimes building again and want to be a part of it. We have an office, which is we're down to 4 hours a week, depending on, I think it's Bill and Eugene who are doing 2 hours each there, and I think they would love if somebody wanted to check phones. We also have to input membership. We have to keep a membership list, so you don't have to be on the board to help out. There's lots of different things you can do, even helping setting up for our public meetings. We usually do a public meeting. We don't quite average one a month, but we're pretty close to that, and we do that kind of stuff. We've done protests outside. We've had meetings with Michael Gravel on occasions, and there's always stuff people can do to help out with that kind of activity. So come on out, and if you want to volunteer, we're going to have a list there. So if you want to volunteer, and you can put down your name and suggest what you want to do, and we're more than willing to look into that.
So you were talking about the peer support program on Monday nights. I understand we have a new volunteer, a fellow recently retired, is going to offer a program for 6 to 8 weeks on stress management and stress management techniques. So he's bringing his skill and volunteering to the group to help with that issue of depression and chronic pain.
Yes, and I think that's a wonderful thing, because with everything that's going on, one of the things that seems really prominent in all the time, it has the stress caused by being on WSIB and dealing with WSIB, and just being on any of our social programs. To a degree, Workplace Safety Insurance Board is one of those social net programs that we have. Can be very stressful on people just being on it, but to have to constantly fight over benefits and entitlement just adds to that stress level. So I think it's a wonderful thing, and we're going to have a sign-up sheet there for anybody who wants to do that. And it's once we get enough people who are interested, we'll be setting up some classes, and as far as I know, there's no cost to that. We're still in the working out the timelines and stuff, but we will be doing that, and I'm really excited about it. I think that's a really a great piece of work that we're doing there in supporting members.
So you and I were both at an international scientific conference a month ago in Toronto on work disability prevention and integration. So about 280, mostly researchers from all around the world were there. How did our system in Ontario compare to what you saw from around the world, and what were some of your thoughts from that conference?
I think it was interesting, and we've been to a few of these because we did one on experience rating a few years ago, and the differences in experience rating. Yeah. And one of the things that really stood out for mine was a discussion about what's going on in some of the European countries. And I think it was Holland, the one guy that we were talking to, and it's the the employer is responsible for 2 years. Anybody, for whatever reason, a person becomes disabled, the employer is responsible for paying them for 2 years. And so the employers are motivated to get people back to work. And there's nobody following them around. We don't have detectives. WSIB is one of the highest payer of private investigators in Ontario. There's no private investigators going around with a camera taking pictures of you. And in our conversation, it was interesting because he said that, well, you know, they're slowly working away from that system because, you know, there are problems with the system and stuff. And Steve, you asked him, so why are they pulling away? What's the reason? It's money. So it's not the worker or the person. It's all about the money. We'll deal with the money first, and we'll deal with the person second. Well, it's not the way you can, you know, they have it right. You're dealing with the person first, and then we should be worrying about the money. And maybe we have some concern about the money, but the person has to come first, and that doesn't seem to be what's happening right now. And that seems to be becoming more and more global, and that's a sad thing. The other thing that really stood out to me was somebody had done a survey and the return to work quick, and they interviewed, and there was only 4% that couldn't return to work. And one of our other injured workers who was in attendance sort of asked the question, so like you interviewed 1,000 people, so how many people was that? So well, there's 40, it'd be 40 people. So what happened to them? So where'd they go? And you know, there was silence from the group. Suddenly they had no answer for her. And it's the reality that some of that intent in that program, or a lot of those processes, is to deal with individuals as a statistic. And you can't, every individual is going to have different experiences and knowledges. And we, one of the people did one about the effects of on injured workers, and it was quite stalking. They were looking at the system in Quebec, but there's a lot of even people who have successful claims in the end have struggles because the employer may have opposed it to start with, and it's no fault system, and yet the employer in a no fault system gets to say, well, you know, that wasn't. Person probably shouldn't qualify. The best man at my wedding. He was injured. He drove a bus and he slipped on some ice and smashed his elbow and couldn't drive for a while. But he was getting all kinds of problems from WSIB. And finally he went and he asked for his file. And when he got his file and he looks at his file, the employer said that, well, you got to understand, this is the son of the union president, and he was out playing hockey. We think he hurt himself playing hockey the previous night. Well, same last name, different first name, not related to the family at all. And so after he goes and says that to them, he says, this is inaccurate. And he had his problems dropped in half. The issues he had fell off.
Oh, my goodness.
But we just accept these comments from employers. And we've seen it here in Thunder Bay where employers make comments and they're just accepted without question.
We're almost out of time, Greg. I want to thank you very much for your thoughts, and obviously half an hour isn't enough time to really cover this topic. I want to remind folks that we're on Facebook. You can look for us under Community Conversations. Check it out. We post news about the shows. We invite your comments and ideas. Like us on Facebook. We're also posting the shows on YouTube. It's also under Community Conversations on YouTube. Our next show will feature Michael Gravel, our MPP in Thunder Bay Superior North. And just one last word about the annual general meeting for the Thunder Bay Injured Workers, Wednesday, November 12th, 7 o'clock, Lakehead Labor Center. Thank you very much. Take care. See you soon.